Welcome into a special edition of our Bears Recap. I'm David Kaplan. That's Ryan McGuffey. And our special guest is Bears quarterback Tyson Bagent. Tyson, welcome into our studios.
Man, it's amazing in here. Thank you guys for having me.
So you are going into year 3.
Yes, sir.
And I said to you when you walked in the door, have they talked to you about an extension yet? Because when you got your opportunity to play 2 years ago and Justin went down 2-2, played well, and it looked like the offense moved pretty well when you were in there. How much would you like to stay here with the Bears and what they're cooking now?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody loves what's going on, here in Chicago more than I do, especially with the new staff in town. I think everything so far has been just trying to take it all in just because of how amazing it is. So, I mean, yeah, like I just told y'all, nobody wants to be around here more than me. So I'm all ears.
You have quite the unique, your 3-year journey in the NFL, just how you got to the Bears. It's been really well documented, obviously, like being an undrafted D2 guy, but Justin's the guy when you get here. Then last year you have Caleb, the whole flu situation, the firing, and now the excitement of Ben Johnson. That's a roller coaster to ride in itself, regardless of what position you play. But being in the quarterback room, what have you learned about yourself while you watch everything going around you, like whether it's new quarterbacks, number 1 overall picks, coaching changes? How has that impacted you? Or do you still put your head down regardless and say, I got a job to do regardless of who's in charge?
Yeah, I think that there a lot of that has to do with it. Just the simple fact of realizing that no matter where you are, who's in the room, who's ahead of you, whatever's going on, it really does nothing to try and make that as a focal point, rather than, because as we know, the NFL is a what have you done for me recently business. Every day you got to show up and do whatever is asked of you at a high level. So that's what I put my focus on. And yeah, I would say that's just overwhelmingly the most important thing I've realized so far.
So for people out there that are going, wow, we got the number 1 coach in the hiring cycle. The Bears stepped up, paid him big money, brought this amazing staff. I'm not asking you to say anything negative about who was here, but what is it like having been in the building? Because Ryan Pohl said to me on the radio a week or 2 ago, I can promise you accountability with Ben Johnson, that's not an issue.
Yeah, and I think that was noticeable from day one. I mean, this is the guy, he is the guy that everybody in the league wanted, in their building. And I think, thank God we got him in our building, because like I just said, from the jump, he's been on us. He hasn't wavered at all, no matter who's messing up. Everybody gets the same Ben Johnson every single day. So, him, the whole rest of the staff that he brought in, it's been very pleasant for all the players to be able to take in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I mean, we in Chicago, way prior to you coming here, have sold hope and faith. That's what all we've had. We haven't had a lot of championships, and it's not just the Bears. It's the Cubs, it's the White Sox, it's the Blackhawks, it's the Bulls. Hope and faith, and every year, Chicago wins the offseason, and it feels that way this year. But everyone is a little bit going into it, I think, like this. We got the dude. We got the guy everybody wanted. It's year 2 for Caleb. There's all these weapons. Are you buying in to the hope and faith for the first time? Because, you don't want to sit there and go, we're going to go, 12-5 and make the playoffs. But this team, on paper, it feels for the first time, it does feel different. And I don't want to buy into the narrative okay, we got the guy, and then something doesn't play out right. The schedule's going to be the schedule. There's some the North is the North, but at least for where the direction and the arrow of this franchise, for the first time in a long time, it certainly feels like it's actually headed up.
Listen, you asking the wrong guy. I say the Bears are winning the 2026 Super Bowl. Let's effing go.
Oh, I love that.
But on a serious note, if you don't, it's one thing to win the Super Bowl. Holy shit, that's what everybody's trying to do, right? One team gets to do it every year. There's still more than 10 teams that haven't done it ever. So it's so hard to do. It's unbelievable. However, if there is not significant progress made from past years to this year, it would have been because something drastic had to have happened. There is absolutely no way with the players that we have on paper, right? Them shoring up those big boys up front, right?
Yep.
Paying those big boys, right? Paying the head coach that is all knowing, that everybody wanted on their team. I think with all these things in place and the way that they're going about teaching us everything, it would take something very significant for there to not be any noticeable positive change going into this year.
Complexity of the offense. You had 3 coordinators last year. The complexity of what you had the first 2 years and what you're dealing with now from a quarterback position in terms of the offensive scheme.
Yeah, I think we're still getting into it right now. They definitely been painting a very good picture so far since we've been there. I would say any NFL offense is pretty complex. But the biggest difference that I'm seeing right now is the mixture of Ben and everybody that he brought with him, and the way that they are teaching us what we are responsible for on every play. I think has been the biggest difference. He puts a lot of the focus, not necessarily on the defense, but what is our job on the play and how perfect can we do that job each and every play, and just very detail oriented. Everything, all the dots connect, everything makes sense. And he's expecting and demanding, maybe not greatness, but for you to at least be striving or to look like you're striving for that. So that's the biggest takeaway from the difference in offenses the past 3 years.
So we're taping this on the day that the schedule is released. So pardon my prematurity here of asking you to pick someone and not to single anyone out, but I'm going to give you mine and then I want to hear yours. Either side of the football, like if you're projecting a breakout player in 2025, I think it's Rome. I think Rome's going to take a massive jump from year 1 to year 2. Who would you pick? Any side of the football. I mean, you guys have barely been at Hallis Hall.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I'll pick one from me. I'll pick one from each side of the ball.
Okay.
I think that Caleb will have a huge year this year. Just because of all the guys that they brought in and him and as well as the staff, working together, all of us, just getting it right. I think he'll have a huge year this year, and will benefit very positively from all the changes that have been made. And then on the defensive side of the ball, my favorite player is TJ Edwards, but he's a breakout player already. He's the man. Gervon Dexter, first team All Pro. Let's go. Every time I see that dude, he's getting after it some way, somehow, and just takes his business very seriously, and is, practices just like the game. So I say I'm going big Gervon Dexter.
I love it. Of what you do day by day. Yes, Caleb Williams is there, but as we like to say, you're one play away from let's go. Caleb's hurt, you got to go in, or Caleb's up, you got to go in. How do you prepare that mentality on a team now that Ryan Paul said it's time to win football games, period?
Yeah, I would say, just because in my head, I'm not exactly sure what the alternative is other than to
do your job,
do exactly what the hell that they're asking me to do. And nobody really loves their job. I don't think anybody loves their job more than I do on the whole face of the planet. So that's really enough motivation for me to, fucking get after it like my life is on the line every single day. And, self-proclaimed, I think I'm a bad dude as well. So I got to stay ready because, just like you said, whether, wherever, would love for it to be here, but, here or not here, the storm is coming. The storm, this is a quote from, Ben last couple weeks ago, the storm is coming. So, we got to be ready for it. So
it's a natural transition to what I wanted to ask you at some point anyway, because look, it's no secret, like the ultimate goal for you is that you're the dude everyone's talking about to be as the starter, whether it's here or somewhere else. That's the goal of you, to be in the National Football League. I've seen your name attached to things now. Like a year ago, people were trying to figure out who Tyson Bagent, or a year and a half ago, people are like, who the hell is Tyson Bagent? Now teams are going, is this guy available? Because they know about you. They've seen film of you. They're asking.
Who's asking? Who's asking if I'm available?
Well, I can tell you the New Orleans Saints, the day Derek Carr retired, we're calling about Tyson Bagent's name became a hot topic in the Bayou. So, not that you try to follow the smoke and mirrors of social media and all that stuff. But in NFL circles, your name is being discussed as other teams are going, we don't know about the future of X. How does that certainly can't motivate you, but the fact that your name has gone from undrafted free agent to teams are thinking about you as a possibility as their starter. You're not where you want to be yet, but that is showing progression of who you can be and what the league is thinking of you now.
Yeah, and I think that is all wonderful. But also I know, very much more than anybody else that it's a lot of work that needs to be done before that. And it's not really something that you can really just sit there and think about, because I'm a bit, you got to be where your feet are.
Yep.
And right now I am all in, loving it here in Chicago for the Chicago Bears, playing my role, doing my job to the best of my ability, and whatever comes after that is great. But in the meantime, in between, we got to keep getting ready so that we are ready for, that moment, whatever it may be.
Because the storm is coming, man.
It's coming. You got to be ready for it. Don't let the what did it say in the movie just now with Michael B. Jordan? He said, jump on the work. Don't let the work jump on you. You don't want to be, unpleasantly surprised.
So we sit in this office every day and we quote movie lines. It's what we do. Because we just have fun. There's some movie you want a mindless 40 minutes and you flip around. Oh, that's on. I'm going to watch the last 40 minutes. What movie would that be?
Oh, man. Semi-Pro's a good one. Elf is a good one. I'm going down the Will Ferrell route. Will Ferrell's the man. Old. Yeah, I mean, yeah, those are my two that's clicking right now. I like the Avatar. Oh, hold up. The fighter pilot movie.
Top Gun?
2. Top Gun. Wow.
Top Gun Maverick.
Wow.
So I adopted a golden retriever. His birthday was yesterday.
We've lost him.
Wow.
King won yesterday. And you know what his name is? Maverick.
Hey, listen. I mean that's arguably. I mean, 1 and 2. I don't know which one's better.
I agree.
I mean, wow.
I actually like 2 better.
I mean, yeah, and that never happens. That never happens. So yeah. Solid.
The best.
What's the quarterback room like with you and Caleb? I know, you guys come from different
Case.
Yeah, Case Keenum. I was going to ask about Case, but like just the room itself in the last 12 plus months, the relationship, the fun that you guys can have in the room, outside the room, because you come from 2 different backgrounds, 2 different programs. You got the Heisman, you have undrafted, you have 1-1-1. What is that dynamic like, and how much? And it's probably a question a little bit for Caleb too, but like, how have you helped him and how has he helped you?
Well, I'll say Heisman and D2 Heisman.
Fair.
And okay, yeah, but with the quarterback room, I mean, it's probably as good as you can get right now. I mean, everybody in the room knows that, yes, of course, individually, we all got to strive and we all got to get better and we all got stuff that we need to work on. And that definitely gets done. And there's no shortage of that getting done. But there's an understanding of, we're all there to help and provide so that 18 could be the best that he could be on the field. And I think that hanging out with him this spring, being around him, already can obviously see jumps from year 1 to year 2, just from a general understanding of everything that's going on. And I think, me, young AR16, being there from last year, I think that offers, a comfortability, and then adding Case now to the room. I mean, you talk about a guy, especially somebody like me that, is still really in search of how can I continue to get better. What a guy to be able to talk to about any different situation that you could possibly be in, being a freaking guy for a franchise, being the backup, being on the practice squad. I mean, longevity.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, my whole routine is different now, kind of thanks to Case Keenum and him kind of offering and his little tidbits on what he's done. And then obviously me, just trying to be a sponge and everybody else in the room.
Yeah.
I think kind of just gravitates towards, asking him a lot of the questions. So it's great. And then obviously you've got JT Barrett as our freaking quarterback coach. I mean, the heck? How amazing is that?
Because I'm a Buckeye fan.
I mean, if you're from Ohio, I mean, wow. You built a statue, this mug. Like,
here's what I was going to say. Remember was it 2 years ago? I was like, Cap, take a look at the Detroit Lions coaching staff. Like, I'm talking, take a deep dive look and look at the amount of NFL experience on the staff. You have Antoine Randall Barrett. You have Hank Fraley on the offensive line. Scotty Montgomery's their running backs coach. Aaron Glenn was their DC. And there's guys, I think. What was it? And you had their tight ends coach was Steve Hayden or something. And I'm like, dude, former players matter. John Fox was a senior defensive assistant just up and down the sidelines. The guy was coaching 2 Super Bowls. And I'm having to Google half the names across the league, not just in Chicago, because I'm like, man, I'm telling you, those guys resonate with dudes who are suiting up every day. Is that true?
Yeah, there's definitely a different level, I think, of maybe not competence, but maybe just deep understanding when somebody is teaching you something that he has physically, done or tried to do. So I think that even, especially with JT, somebody that's as young as him, he will do the drill first and be like, hey, this is what we're doing. And he can, he was in the NFL, does it at a high level. So I think there's a part of that definitely makes a lot of sense. And I think that we're filled with those on our staff now. Al Harris, Eric Bieniemy, Jim Drake.
Yeah, Eric Bieniemy, so running back.
Name whoever you want. Press Taylor, like
name. And now the Bears are going to be this. Like we know it's a copycat league. If this works, if this model works, everyone's going to be just carbon copy. It was like the Detroit Lions model. Now it could be the Chicago Bears model. Mm-hmm. And for years in this town, people are like, "Well, what if the OC gets plucked by another job?" I said, "Name one that has."
Yeah.
No, I would love for that to happen in this town because that means shit's going right. We're winning. And there's a factory that's being like, that's actually producing coaches and a tree at Hallis Hall for once and not the other way around. It'd be great if that happened.
So you're at Shepherd. There's no NIL at Shepherd, right?
My senior year, but it might have been a little shady. We won't get into it.
Statute of limitations.
So essentially, no.
Okay, so if you were playing now in college and phone rings, you got 1 year left at Shepherd, you're setting all these records and it's a Power 5 going, they want to transfer, I'll give you $500,000. Do you do that or you go, no, I'm going to stay right where I'm at? Because it's like I see guys playing for 4 different colleges in 4 years. I hate it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's 2 sides to that story. You know what I mean?
100%.
I mean, I'm a little bit of a weirdo. I didn't even necessarily stay at Shepherd for any other reason than I was way too scared to leave home. Right. But if you're not scared to leave home, I mean, you got to take the $500,000, right? I mean, my goodness, 500,000. Yeah, what are we talking about? You know how many dudes make it to the NFL? Nobody.
Yep, 1% of.
That's about how many. Nobody.
Yeah.
So yeah, you got to. Yeah, you got to. So it's really just a shame on the NCAA.
That it got to this.
That it's like this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or that there's not a ceiling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, all right, guys, you can make $100,000 a year. Okay,
I think that's how
relax.
It should be. I think that's how it should be for freshmen. It's like you're paying, these guys are getting so much money up front for what they could be doing rather than the other way around. Here's your $100,000 base. And if you become the guy we think you could be, there's 8 to 10 million waiting for you senior year. Yeah, that's the way I think it should be.
I mean, wow. I mean, when you really just take a step back and you really are like, what did Archer Manning sign for $10 million to go to Texas?
Yeah, the kids. Look at Michigan, Blair.
But look at Shador and look at Urs. Yeah. Urs just got a 7th round. He's going to make a 50,000.
Quinn Ewers.
Yeah, he's a 7th round pick. He made more money at Texas.
Yeah, now he looks like a dumbass for coming out and going to the NFL. Like that's how crazy it's gotten. And like when you think about like the number of percentage of people that don't even have like $1,000.
Yep.
And then we're sitting here talking like you got the situations happening like at the University of Tennessee with their quarterback of like, oh no, I'm out. Like, oh, okay, y'all give us some money. Well, I'm gonna hold out and make more money. Like, wow.
Yeah.
Because then wow. I mean, because then there's essentially it's like you're less hyped to make it to the NFL.
So
than you would be. Like part of making it to the NFL was like, oh my gosh, now me and my people are straight.
Yep.
Hallelujah. Now it's like these dudes are like, oh yeah, going to rookie mini camp, just got picked up.
And there's no handouts anymore.
Yeah.
Like there's no more big BMOC, dude. It's everyone on campus. And if you don't earn your keep,
We went to see a game. We go every year to a basketball game at an amazing arena. So this year we went to Kansas.
Nice.
It was incredible. Last year we went to Duke.
Yep.
And
Nice.
saw Cameron Indoor Stadium. Have you ever had a chance? Probably not, because you have been playing. Is there a football venue you go, I'd like to just get a couple beers and go to a game and tailgate there?
Man, I'm gonna be honest. Call me biased. There is no better game day atmosphere than the Shepherd University.
Dude,
The Shepherd University homecoming week is by far the best game day atmosphere that I've been to when I'm thinking about where I want to go and just drink a couple beers.
Dude,
Now, if I want to go watch a football game,
Okay.
I might go Michigan, Ohio State
Okay.
at Michigan. And I think that would be pretty electric.
At Ohio.
Could you imagine going
Or at Ohio
to a
State.
game at Shepherd with that guy?
That would be.
Wow.
Are you the biggest thing to ever come out of Shepherd?
Oh, yeah,
It's okay to say yes.
yeah, probably.
Here's what you said you were scared to leave home, but you have this aura and confidence about you that I absolutely love. And
Mhm.
some people might get rubbed the wrong way by saying, "Oh, it's arrogance." I think it's complete confidence just sitting next to you right here.
Mhm.
The way you've carried yourself thus far in the NFL. So when you had to go pack up your bags and go to Chicago and leave home,
Nervous?
what was that like?
Shoot, man, it was like immediate, like, oh my gosh, celebration. I got picked up by the Bears. Wow, this is wonderful. And then it was like the next day, the anxiety, because I went hard that night with my buddies because we made it to the NFL. I was like, oh my, I looked up how far away is Chicago from Martinsburg, West Virginia. And then I saw 11 hours and then I was like, damn. And then I got there. And then I remember the first practice that wasn't the greatest. I was kind of sitting in my room and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what happens to every kid when they go off to college or when they freaking like get a new job somewhere and they freak out and they come back immediately. But I got great parents. I got good family, so they helped me through it. And then 4 days later, I never felt like that again. So it was all good.
First time they said to you, not when you just got put in, Justin's out, thumb injury, you're starting. What was that experience like?
Yeah, so he came off to the sideline and, initially didn't really think anything happened because he got tackled and he was like on the ground for a second, but then he popped up and he ran off. He was running off to the sideline. So I'm like, okay, yeah, dang. I'm like, he's fine. Right. So then we walk up to where the QBs and the QB coach kind of congregate in between drives, and I see his thumb is completely dislocated.
Oh,
So I'm like, hey, I'm like, hey, here we go. Like, here we go. And then I'm warming up and the quarterback coach talking to me, and shout out to Andrew Janoko, my guy.
Good.
Janoko's a good dude. I miss him. He's talking to me about a bunch of shit and he's like making corrections on the call sheet. And I said, Coach, listen, you tell whoever that the game plan is the game plan. Y'all call whatever you want. Like, all right, let's roll. All right, let's do this. And then, it was crazy though.
and your first start was that the Raiders?
First start was at home against the Raiders.
I remember I was at that game.
Yeah.
And the fan buzz for that game to see you play, it was going sideways a little bit with the I think everybody was ready for something new.
Oh yeah.
And then this town,
We were in a tough
no
spot.
one loves an athlete like the backup. No one loves anybody more than the backup quarterback in this town. That's how it's been forever and always. I hope that changes. No offense.
Yeah.
But the buzz when you led the team down, did you score a rushing touchdown in that game, or I can't remember?
No, that was the Minnesota game.
The Minnesota game. Okay. I just remember it was like,
That's
okay.
why that's when all the then it was like,
Then it was
okay,
secret
all right,
Bagent
what's up?
man
What's up
and
with
all
this
the,
dude?
yeah.
Then we put an ass spanking on the Raiders to end that. How long was that streak?
It was ugly.
12, I think.
Yeah, it was bad.
It was like more than a year.
Yeah. There's been a lot of those streaks in this town.
And you won.
Wow. Well, I think that ignited like a 8-game home win streak.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Into the next year.
Yep.
Wow.
What I think is cool too is you talk about being like this, the small kid from the small town, and then look what you're doing now. This is you've done this. You did a camp last year But talk about what you're doing here coming up on May 23rd, because I think it's awesome what you're doing for kids.
Perfect. Yep. Just so I don't mess this up. All right. May 23rd, 2025. This coming next week, we are doing a offensive skills camp at Glenbrook North High School, home of the Spartans. They're gracious enough to let us use their facility. It is for grades 6 through 12, and you can register through the QR code right here on this pamphlet, pay however you want, with how it says on the pamphlet, and you can see it's 6:30 p.m. check-in. Camp is starts at 7:30. So we're under the lights, baby. So it should be fun.
Friday night lights.
Let's go. Yeah, and we had a good time. And this one's going to be way better. This one's going to be way better.
Look how Tyson looks like a completely different dude with the locks. Jackson's digging. He wore the Tyson Bagent shirt.
I love it.
I've got a can.
Yeah, it was a smart move on his part to be.
And your dad said, "Hey,
get over here." I just think it's super cool what you're doing. You know, you don't nobody has to do this type of stuff.
Yeah,
and for you to be, you know, the backup quarterback of the Bears and embracing your own opportunity here and giving back to kids, I just think that's a guy who gets it. And there's just not a lot of guys who come through here that all the time they get it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's really cool what you're doing for the people of Chicago and Chicagoland. And check out that QR code if you're interested in going, because it's a great opportunity. The weather's turned, and rain or shine, you see it. It's pouring down rain. I promise you that guy right there and sitting next to us, he'll be out there.
Hey, football's an outdoor sport at the end of the day.
That sure is.
Doesn't matter how many domes they build. It's an outdoor sport.
Wait, what's your opinion on the matter? Are you cool with Arlington Heights, or you want the lakefront?
Oh my gosh, man, we should have been indoors about 25 years ago. Goodness gracious. No 4,000 passer my ass. Y'all go stand outside. y'all go stand out there. My goodness.
A little chilly, a little windy.
The chilly is fine. Chilly is fine. But that wind has got a mind of its own.
You didn't see the meme where there was a meme about there's a Pope from Chicago before there was a 4,000 yard passer in Chicago.
That'd be crazy.
Well, that's getting broke this year. But also back to the camp. Yeah, as much as I would like to take all that credit, luckily for me, I have a great support system that helps put things like that into place that I can then show up at, and then we all have a great time. So it's definitely a conjoined effort on that end. But yeah, kids are going to have a great time. They always have a great time. We always have a great time doing it. So under the lights, doesn't really get a whole lot better than that.
Deep dish or thin crust?
I'm going deep dish.
Yes.
Deep dish. Lou Malnati's, Pequods. I like. I mean, they're pretty similar. They're pretty similar. I love it.
The second quiz question that he's going to pass, because I already know because we talked about it. Sox or Cubs?
Give me the Sox. Here we go. Screw the Cubbies.
He's okay being the underdog. I like it. I like him.
Hey, but huge shout out. I've been getting that. I cut the hair off.
Yeah.
Big shout out to my boy PCA on the Cubbies.
You guys do have a little bit
Let's get it. Love it.
Yeah, PCA's fun.
Love it.
It's fun to screw
if you go compare me to anybody, at least it's somebody with some swag. And
would that be so? Any other Chicago, you and PCA would be your comp if you were comping a baseball player or anybody else in this town?
I guess so. They keep putting pictures of us side by side. And I'm like, man, that is. No,
we got to make that happen. We got to make the PCA Tyson Bagent reunion.
I like it.
The union.
Like it.
Yeah. You go to sporting events also.
Yeah, I go to Shepherd. I go to Shepherd University, all sports events. I go to Cubs, the Chicago Cubs games. I've been to obviously Chicago White Sox games, and I've been to couple Bulls games. And basically, and then what's the hockey team?
Blackhawks.
The Blackhawks, yes, the Blackhawks. That was my first hockey game, and that was also time. So yeah, all the Chicagoland sports and all Shepherd University sports is where my sports watching goes right now.
So if you look at Shepherd University notable people, because I wanted to pull it up, Tyson's listed as number 1. Now it is in alphabetical order, but if you go down the list, it's like Judge, congressman, governor.
Randy Moss, man.
Well, I'm talking about Shepherd University.
Oh, Shepherd. Okay,
This is strictly to Shepherd
not West
University.
Virginia. No.
Brenton Doyle, who plays for the Rockies.
Hello.
Doyle is the
Golden Glove, best player in the MLB. Shout out to Brenton Doyle.
I knew that would get
for the Colorado Rockies, and did not transfer to Shepherd. Was there all the way, the whole time.
Bam.
Yep.
Let's go. He was a senior my freshman year. Stud.
So you guys know each other.
Absolute stud. No, of each other.
Of each other.
I'd say, yes.
Okay. Well, we got to get that. That's the first thing. The White Sox Rockies game, which throw out the records when those two teams get together.
yeah. That's tough deal. I can't comment on that, but shout out to Brendan.
But there you go. Instead of congressman, there is another athlete to come from.
I wanted to ask you about your workouts because I read about it last year where you're doing these workouts.
Yeah, I'm going to pull it up.
Just stupid hard with your buddy.
Yeah, my mentor / best friend, Derek Gallagher. But I work out with about all my buddies. That's a prerequisite to being my buddy, is that we get it in together.
So what is the...
Oh, that was bad. I was in the pain cave right there. Don't show too much of that now.
Where did the workout, like who designed it? He did or you did?
No, so it's not really a design. Rather it is CrossFit. So I've been doing CrossFit ever since I was around 8-9 years old. And the way CrossFit is defined is constantly varied functional movements performed at high intensity. So that's kind of how me and my brother and my dad kind of had us getting down since an early age. And then I kind of developed my own kind of love and understanding for it ever since, once I became like around 17, 18 and started understanding what it means to be healthy and what all that is. I don't know what the heck I would do. I don't know what I'm going to do when all this football stuff's over with. That's to be determined. But, we like to get it in. And so programming CrossFit workouts, most of the time I'll let him do the programming. He's got a trick shoulder and is a little older than me, so I let him pick the workouts. But then I also do my own pro with my other friend and kind of new CrossFit mentor, Andrew Hiller, who actually lives not far from here.
Yeah. 20 years from now, you'll be in your 40s. This football thing will likely be over. I'm not going to end it for anybody anymore after Tom Brady. Okay.
Nah, I'm going to get a what's that? A neuro chip?
Yeah.
That shit's going to keep me
20 years.
56-year-old.
Yeah. But 20 years from now, your script has been written. What would you like it to say? I'm just talking strictly about your.
I'm not going to hold back now.
Okay.
I'm not going to hold back.
I don't want you to. That's why I'm
hold back now.
Yep.
I'd like to be, a handful of Pro Bowls in there, maybe one or two Super Bowls. Other than that,
a couple $300 million contracts.
Yeah, a whole lot of money in between all that. And, but really just, those two things would be cool. I'd be happy with that. I'd be happy with that.
Bought anything for yourself once you got an NFL paycheck or two in the bank? Was there something you went, I want that for myself? You don't strike me as a Rolex guy. You strike me as maybe you got a Jeep.
Nah, I actually hate cars. I've never had a car payment, so scratch that.
Love that
immediately. Jewelry, I feel the jewelry on my body, so I don't like that. Bought a lot of steak and put my family in a nice crib back at home, and that's really about the extent of like the nice things. I bought a coat when we were in London. I did that.
That your first trip overseas?
No. I went to Moldova when I was 18. My dad had an arm wrestling tournament, and he took me and my mom, so that was pretty cool. So that was my second time overseas. Other than that, I guess I have funded the family vacations the last 2 years, so that is that as well. But outside of that, I just make sure that I eat good.
I like it. I mean, like this, it's a never forget where you come from approach, to be honest with you. Like, that's what it sounds like. I mean, I love that. That's how I always like to wake up and be where my feet are. But, when I think about Tyson Bagent and where he wants to be, which is Pro Bowl and Super Bowl, but like who he is. I go back to how you started this whole interview, and you said, I have the best job in the world and no one's going to tell me differently. So if it ended tomorrow, or you don't want it to end tomorrow, but it seems like you have this approach that when you wake up, like you're going to be okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and because, you know, regret is tough.
Yeah.
You know, regret's tough. So I feel like I do, you know, kind of on autopilot, try to, you know, squeeze all the juice that I can from each thing, because it could, you know, yeah, we say all pros and Super Bowls. I could be on the way home tomorrow, you know, knock on wood. But, so yeah, I try to take the most out of every single opportunity, because that's the only thing that's really the only thing I won't regret.
Tyson, it's been awesome having you here in the studio. And here's hoping, man, wherever your journey takes you, it's where you want it to be.
My man, I agree. I appreciate you guys having me. Hell of a setup here, and it was a good time.
You heard it. Super Bear, Super Bowl. Tyson said it.
Let's go, Bear Dan. 2026, man. 2026. What are we gonna sit up here and say anything otherwise?
No.
Oh,
yeah, there we go. We're all on the same page.
That's Tyson Bagent. That's Golf. I'm Cap. Special edition of our Bears Recap. Take that.